Namaste, myself Triveni Khurana, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Physiotherapy and Diagnostics. Today we are going to discuss about head injuries. What is head injury? It is any injury that results in the trauma to the scalp, skull or brain. Traumatic brain injury encompasses a broad range of pathological injuries to the brain of varying clinical severity that results from head trauma. Head injury and traumatic brain injury are used interchangeably. What is the etiology of head injury? These may consist of motor vehicle crashes, 44% involvement, falls of 26% involvement, unknown factors, which is involvement of 13% in these cases. Non-firearm assaults consist of 9% and firearms 8%. What is the pathophysiology behind the head injury? On the basis of mechanism of production, head injury can be classified as impact injury, which results from an object striking the head or the head striking an object. It includes scalp injuries, skull fracture, cerebral contusion, laceration and epidural hematoma. Next classification is acceleration and deceleration injuries, which results essentially as a result of differential movement between the skull and cranial content. It includes diffuse axonal injury and subdural hematoma. What is a corp injury? It occurs at the site of the impact to the head and are produced by compression of brain due to inward movement of bone. What is countercorp injury? It is the injury occurs directly opposite to the point of impact and are most common in frontal lobe and temporal lobe. It is produced by the head in motion impacting on the stationary object. Now, what are the consequences of head injury? First, we are seeing injury to the scalp. There can be scalp contusion, abrasion or laceration. Vascularity of scalp can cause profuse bleeding. Osteomyelitis may develop after closed injury following infection of subperiosteal. Blood clot referred as Port's Puffy tumor. Now, what is skull fracture? It is a simple linear fracture or break in the bone that transverses the full thickness of the skull from the outer to inner table. It has no clinical significance. This fracture that transverses a suture line or involves a venous sinus groove or vascular groove should be dealt cautiously. What is depressed skull fracture? It results from blunt trauma. In this, inner table extensively affected than the outer table. High risk of increased pressure on the brain or hemorrhage to the brain that crushes the delicate tissues. In compound depressed fracture, contact with outside environment increasing the risk of contamination and infection too. This fracture tears the dura mater, increasing the risk of cortical damage and epilepsy. What is the base of skull fracture? In this, first is anterior cranial fossa fracture, which may lead to subconjunctival hematoma extending to the posterior limit of sclera, epistaxis, CSF rhinorrhea. Next, middle cranial fossa fracture, which involves the petrous temporal bone present with CSF, otorrhea, hemotympanium, ossicular disruption, Battle sign 7 and cranial nerve palsy involvement 2. Primary brain injury caused at the time of impact and it is irreversible. Secondary brain injury is subsequent or progressive brain damage arising from events developing as a result of primary brain injury. Examples of primary brain injury are concussion, cortical laceration, contusion, diffuse axonal injury, and bone fragmentation. What are the examples of secondary brain injury? These are intracranial hematoma, cerebral edema, ischemia, infection, metabolic or endocrine disturbances. In diffuse axonal injury, which is a result from mechanical shearing at gray-white interface due to severe acceleration and deceleration force without structural damage. Its severity may range from mild damage with confusion to coma and even death. Major cause of unconsciousness and persistent vegetative state after head trauma is seen. In cerebral contusion, severe degree of brain injury manifested by areas of hemorrhage in the brain parenchyma without surface laceration. Neurological deficits persist more than 24 hours in cerebral contusion, and it is associated with cerebral edema and defects in the blood-brain barrier. Severe degree of brain injury associated with a breach in the surface parenchyma seen in the cerebral lacerations. In cerebral laceration, tearing of brain surface may be due to skull fracture or due to shearing force. In this neurological deficit, focal neurological deficit may be present. In the case of extradural hematoma, collection of blood between the cranial bones and dura mater, which is associated with the fracture of temporal parietal region and the middle meningeal artery, which is the commonest vessel involved in this hematoma, and lucid interval may be present, characterized by confusion, irritability, drowsiness, hemiparesis to the same side of injury. Hutchinson's pupils present, and features of raised ICP, which are hypertension, bradycardia and vomiting, are seen. Craniotomy and evacuation of clot should be done. What is subdural hematoma? In this, results from torn breaching vein or injury to the cortical artery. Hematoma is extensive and diffuse in subdural hematoma with no lucid interval, characterized by loss of consciousness, occurs immediately after trauma and is progressive. Features of raised ICP and focal neurological deficits may be seen. It is confirmed by the CT scan, and treatment may consist of surgical decompression by craniotomy, and the conservative treatment is antibiotics. In the case of cerebral herniation, increased ICP or presence of intracranial mass may predispose to cerebral herniation. Herniation of contents of supratentorial compartment through the tentorial hiatus. Herniation of the contents of intertentorial compartment through foramen magnum. And the brain swelling, it follows significant hand injury, occurs due to hyperemia and edema, which is characterized by infection, seizure and hydrocephalus. Now, what should the approach to these head trauma? First, detailed history should be sought in all cases of head trauma. If the patient is unconscious, which is usually by the condition, history should be obtained from the attendant. While one care provider is taking history, resuscitation should be carried out simultaneously by the other care provider. Ask about the type of accident, which may be RTA or fall from height, acceleration type injury, deceleration type injury during driving a motor car. Check for level of consciousness. If unconscious, then the duration of unconsciousness should be checked, or it is immediately after trauma. Any presence of lucid interval and post-traumatic amnesia must be checked. Now check for vomiting, any blood in vomiters, persisting vomiting, sign of recovery from cerebral concussion. Check for epileptic fits or seizure. Its nature may give due to localization of the site of trauma. Any swelling and pain in the head should be assessed, and other complaints such as bleeding or watery discharge from ear, nose or mouth must be checked. Then ask about patient's history. In this, any fit or similar head injury in the past, hypertension, diabetes mellitus or any renal diseases. Then collect personal history of patient. In this, unconsciousness due to other cause such as alcohol, opium poisoning or diabetic coma. Now collect patient's family history, history of diabetes, hypertension and epilepsy in the family. Now what should be the immediate management for head injury? Initial assessment of head injury must follow advanced trauma and life support, which includes maintenance of airway along with cervical spine control, cervical spine immobilization in neutral position using neck brace, sandbags or forehead tapes, suction of airway to clear blood or any vomiters, chin lift, jaw thrust for oropharyngeal airway, ET tube, tracheostomy as necessary, maintenance of breathing, assessment of circulation and control of hemorrhage for establishing IVSS with 2 large bore IV cannulas, IV infusion of NS, should avoid 5% dextrose as it may precipitate cerebral edema. Assessment of dysfunction of CNS should be checked. Exposure in a controlled environment, that is for remove all clothes and look for any obvious external injury. Now what should be the physical examination in this? It includes pulse and blood pressure. Pulse will be rapid, steady with low BP in case of cerebral concussion. Pulse becomes slow and bounding with high BP in case of cerebral irritation. Rapid pulse in deeply unconscious hearts impeding death. Temperature check. In cerebral concussion, contusion temperature may remain subnormal. With appearance of cerebral compression, temperature may rise up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Victor-Horsley sign should be checked. Now check for head. In this, patient's head must be shaped fully. Look thoroughly for any fracture of the skull, hematoma and assess the types of fracture. Site of injury often gives clue towards diagnosis. Position of patient should be checked. Check for eye, which includes any evidence of hemorrhage in and around the eye, the condition of pupil. Now, neurological assessment can be done by using Glasgow Coma Scale, which consists of eye opening, verbal response and best motor response. In minor head injury, GCS or Glasgow Coma Scale 15 with no loss of consciousness. In the mild head injury, GCS score is in between 14 or 15 with loss of consciousness. Moderate head injury, Glasgow Coma Scale is in between 9 to 13, and in severe head injury, Glasgow Coma Scale grades between 3 to 8. Check for any presence of neurological deficit. These are check for power, tone, superficial and deep tendon reflexes. Check for rigidity of neck, which may be present in the case of subarachnoid hemorrhage, fracture dislocation of cervical spine. Next, assessment of cranial nerve examination. Cranial nerve should be examined one after another. Of these, most important is third nerve. Then check for any other CNS manifestations such as ataxia, nystagmus. Thank you.